Fluff, a grey cat with soft fur and gentle eyes, stood frozen in the spotlight. He had walked onto the stage, but now that he was here, his mind went blank. His heart pounded, and his legs felt like jelly. The room was full of expectant eyes, waiting for him to speak, but no words came. His mouth was dry, and his paws shook. Panic rose inside him like a tidal wave. The silence stretched on, unbearable. Fluff's ears burned with embarrassment. Unable to take it any longer, he bolted off the stage. Whispers followed him as he fled, tail low in shame. His heart heavy with defeat, he thought, "Why did I even try?" Fluff didn't stop running until he was far from the crowd. Behind the building, his chest heaved from the sprint and his body trembled. He sat down, tears stinging his eyes. He had dreamed of this moment, but now it was ruined. His worst fears had come true. He had failed in front of everyone. As he sat there, curled up in his misery, his friend Whiskers approached. "You know, there's someone who might help you," Whiskers said softly. "Talk to Sage. He's wise and may give you some advice." Fluff didn't know if anyone could help, but he nodded. The next day, still feeling defeated, he set off to find Sage. Sage was waiting for him in his peaceful garden. The white cat, with deep green eyes and a soft smile, welcomed Fluff warmly. "I see you've been through a difficult time," Sage said calmly. "Tell me what happened." Fluff explained everything, how he froze on stage, how the panic overwhelmed him, and how he ran away. Sage listened carefully, nodding now and then. When Fluff was done, Sage paused for a moment, then said, "Your fear grows because you feed it, Fluff. Each time you run away from what scares you, your fear becomes stronger. You can only weaken it by facing it." Sage's words hit Fluff hard. He had always run from his fears, and now they were bigger than ever. With renewed determination, Fluff decided to follow Sage's advice. He practiced, rehearsed, and even stood in front of a mirror, imagining the audience. The next time he had the chance to perform, he told himself he wouldn't run. When he walked onto the stage again, he stared out at the crowd, and once more, fear wrapped around him like a heavy chain. Fluff felt like he couldn't breathe. For a moment, he almost ran again. But this time, something held him back. Sage's words echoed in his mind. "Your fear grows because you feed it." Fluff took a deep breath. He stood there, letting the fear wash over him, but not giving in to it. Yet, it was still too much. His voice was trapped in his throat. And once again, he left the stage, disappointed in himself. Fluff returned to Sage, feeling defeated. "I tried," he said, his voice trembling. "I really did. But it didn't work. The fear was still there." Sage looked at him kindly and said, "You're learning, Fluff. But this time, I need you to think deeper. What is it that truly scares you? When did this fear start?" Fluff thought back and remembered a childhood moment in school. As a kitten, he had stood in front of his classmates to speak, but his voice cracked, and the class laughed. He had run away then too. Ever since that day, Fluff had been terrified of standing in front of others. Sage nodded. "Your fear grew from that moment, but the past is behind you. What matters is what you do now." Fluff took Sage's words to heart. He had let that old memory control him for too long, but how could he stop it? Sage leaned closer. "The next time you face your fear, don't just try to be brave. Acknowledge your fear. Know where it comes from, but act anyway. Fear only has power if you let it control you. When you move forward, even with fear, you'll find that it becomes smaller." Sage paused, looking deep into Fluff's eyes. "And remember, Fluff, You are not that little kitten anymore. You've grown. Just because you made a mistake once doesn't mean you are doomed to fail forever. One failure doesn't define you. Fluff blinked, letting Sage's words sink in. He had been holding on to his past failure, but maybe he was stronger now. Maybe that moment didn't have to decide his future. The next time he performed, Fluff felt the fear rise, but now he knew where it came from. He thought of the laughter in school, but this time he didn't let it stop him. His paws shook, but he opened his mouth and started to speak. His voice was unsteady at first, but the words began to flow. The fear didn't vanish, but it no longer controlled him. Fluff finished his performance, and to his surprise, the audience applauded. His legs trembled, but he had done it. He faced his fear. Days later, Fluff returned to Sage's garden, smiling. "Thank you," he said. "I faced my fear. It was still there, but I acted anyway, and now I feel stronger." Sage smiled warmly. "Remember, Fluff, it's not about never feeling fear. It's about knowing where it comes from and moving forward despite it. Fear is part of life, but it doesn't have to rule you.